This video is about hiking from rim to river to rim as a day hike on Bright Angel Trail, a distance of about 16 miles or 26 kilometers with a descent of 4,460 feet or about 1,360 meters. Let's get started. The coffee is brewing. One of the best strategies for doing your rim to rim hike is to stay on the Grand Canyon rim, wake up early, get an early start, and to know the temperature in the morning so you can choose to dress appropriately. Today will be over 100 degrees, 38 degrees centigrade. Should be hot as heck, so it's good to get an early start. I have a choice in making this video, whether it's a tips video or a travelogue, and what I decided to do was do a hybrid, a travelogue with quite a few tips in it. One question you might ask is, what is my experience and authority to talk about hiking rim to rim at Grand Canyon? Well, I do this hike about once a month, and I've done it more than 100 times. This is the food for two hikers for the rim to rim hike. Bananas, sandwiches, granola bars, oranges, grapes, applesauce honey stinger, a little sugary treat, some donuts, beef jerky, mixed nuts. One of the most refreshing things is sliced watermelon when you take a break in the hot weather. I lean heavily towards natural food with a couple of sugary treats. Icing your hydration pack is one of the best things you can do on a hot weather hike at Grand Canyon. Early start, let's hit the trail. 1.5 mile rest house. Today is the solstice. There's already pre-dawn on the horizon. Two-mile corner. You can hear the first bird songs. The sun's starting to appear on the horizon, and it should rise soon. It's almost dawn, and the beauty and depth of the canyon is coming into focus. With the sun rising, you can see the aptly named battleship. 3-mile rest house and Bright Angel Trail leading to the green area of Havasupai Gardens, formerly known as Indian Garden. Almost to 3-mile rest house with the trail stretching out in the distance. You should be able to make it to 1.5 mile rest house in an hour, 3-mile rest house in 2 hours. If you're not making those times, you might want to question your ability to make it to the river and back in one day. 3-mile rest house, there are composting toilets at 1.5 mile rest house, 3-mile rest house, Havasupai Gardens, formerly known as Indian Gardens, and as well as at Pipe Creek Beach. Looking up from 3-mile rest house, the first rays of the sun are touching the canyon walls. Just beyond 3-mile rest house are a series of zigzags, commonly known as Jacob's Ladder. The sun has started streaming down through the canyon, and there's also the first calls of the canyon wren. Tame mule deer are common along the trail. Reaching Havasupai Gardens, formerly known as Indian Garden, there's a ranger station. All of these trees were planted. This was once a desert environment. To a certain degree, the Park Service has an adversarial relationship with the hikers. The pressure here has not been reduced. This is fine in the summer, but think of filling up when it's 8 degrees and getting sprayed with water. Additionally, They used to have a water fountain here, but they don't bother to install it anymore. The fountain had much less pressure and easier to fill up your water bottles. A simple pressure reduction valve would solve this problem. The composting toilets are neither as good nor as bad as you might expect them to be. They had been equipped with fans to suppress the odors and fumes coming out of the composting area. Of course, when they broke, the Park Service never repaired them. Havasupai Garden, formerly known as Indian Garden, is your last stop for water if you're going to Pipe Creek Beach and back. That means you'll do the approximate 7-mile round trip from here to Pipe Creek Beach and back without water. Probably about 3 liters per person is more than adequate to cover you. Trail splits at Havasupai Garden, Plateau Point going off to the left, Right Angel down to the river going off to the right. There's also conveniently a thermometer, about 72 degrees this morning. The sun is about to hit the trail and it is going to get hot. It's hard to believe this verdant valley was all planted and was once a desert environment. You wouldn't guess this is Grand Canyon with all the green. There have been times I've made fun of this sign, but I really shouldn't have. Last month, a 36-year-old woman died doing the rim to river to rim hike. It's a serious undertaking and one you shouldn't do without experience and the right equipment. The sun is hitting the trail. It's going to get real warm real soon. There's something I never regret, and that is the early start. Tonto Trail veers off towards the east here and connects up with South Kaibab Trail. Right Angel keeps going down to the river. I call this area Twin Falls. Oddly enough, although we're on Bright Angel Trail, this is called Garden Creek. Later on, we'll meet up with Pipe Creek. Bright Angel Creek is along North Kaibab Trail. Go figure. People expect Bright Angel Trail to be desert, but here the Park Service has allowed Garden Creek to flow onto the trail without correcting its course, so you can expect water here and potentially 5 stream crossings at the bottom of the Devil's Corkscrew. I hate to get my feet wet. I always wear a waterproof shoe on Bright Angel Trail. Right before you reach the Devil's Corkscrew, there is a large waterfall just to the side of Bright Angel Trail. After the big waterfall, Bright Angel Trail winds down through an area called the Devil's Corkscrew to about the level of the river, but it's still half an hour from the bottom of the Devil's Corkscrew to the Colorado River. Devil's Corkscrew got its name because when you're in full sun carrying a full backpack, it is a hellish experience. It's only 7:30 in the morning, but I feel like I'm an ant under a magnifying glass. The sun can be intense. You need to be prepared for the heat. Good morning.
Morning, y'all.
You're welcome. The mules seem like a charming part of Grand Canyon, but after you see what their metal shoes do to the trail and the waste they leave behind, they're not so charming. When you hit the bottom of the Devil's Corkscrew, you come across this trickle of water sometimes it's dry. This is Pipe Creek. There will be 5 stream crossings between here and the Colorado River, and the hike takes about 30 minutes. About 15 minutes before you hit the Colorado River, Garden Creek comes down, joins Pipe Creek, and flows to the Colorado.
For me, when the going gets rough, the poles get useful. After the 5th stream crossing, you're ready to hit the Colorado River. We've made it to the Colorado River.
River Resthouse is a shady place to break for lunch. It's equipped with an emergency phone, as well as a guest register you should be sure to sign.
This is one of the larger step downs on the trail. I call it the Kaibab Killer because I was intending to go down Bright Angel and up Kaibab one time. Stepped over it too hard, jammed my back, and had to go back to the top. It's about as bad as it gets. It's easy to step up, not so easy to step down for me. With the river behind us, the journey to the back starts. Thank goodness we started early enough to still have some shade on the trail, but it will get hot.
I call this rock formation the Phoenix. Think of the incredible heat and pressure it took to twist rock this way.
Here's another example of the incredible geological forces that must have been at play. That's South Rim up there, the place to which we are returning. The backpack thermometer has gone over 90 degrees. We're coming up what's called the Devil's Corkscrew, and in the full sun you can see how it got that name. That's the 3rd mule train so far today. You can see where it wears thin pretty quickly. The backpack thermometer is reading 110. The Devil's Corkscrew is in full sun. You can see why you don't want to hike up that with a 50-pound pack in the noonday sun. These rocks along Garden Creek seem to have the indicators of a pueblo indwelling, but who knows, it could be random, or maybe the CCC kids when they had a little bit of time off. The warning about the squirrels is a valid one. They will chew right through your pack to get to the food inside. Sometimes visitors try to feed them by hand, and they will bite. If you get bitten, you'll need a painful set of rabies inoculations, which I understand cost about $50,000 if you don't have insurance. I think it's a wise warning not to feed the wildlife. As you leave Havasupai Garden, formerly Indian Garden, the good news is you're 3/4 of the way done with your hike. The bad news is it's 92 in the shade, and you're going to hike all that way up Bright Angel Trail in the full noonday sun. 3-mile rest house. It's admittedly tiring coming up in the heat. I'm usually about 15% faster uphill than I am downhill, but today I'm about equal in times up and down. One tip I didn't mention, or I might have mentioned already, is if you have 2 hikers, you can share one backpack. That gives the other hiker a chance to allow his or her back to dry off in the summer heat. Tunnel 2 is a welcome sight, 20 minutes to the top. The hike is over. One of the final pleasures of hiking rim to river is coming up from the hike and being 2 or 3 minutes away from your room at Bright Angel Cabins. There's a nice clean shower and a nice cool beer waiting for you. A lot of younger people might hop in a car, drive 3 or 4 hours to a buffet in Las Vegas, but to me, staying right here wandering around the rim in the afternoon with no cares in the world is a wonderful thing. That was it. That's the hike, rim to river to rim. We are complete. We are back at the cabin and the hike is over. One final tip, you want to know who the real hikers are? Look for the dust on their shoes and legs. They're the ones who can tell you about water conditions and trail conditions. With the hike complete, there were a few things I forgot to mention on the trail that I will add now. The first one is about training. I don't do any specific training for hiking rim to rim. I walk 4 or 5 miles a day. I've never been an athlete. I'm in my mid-60s, and that was adequate training for me to be able to do this hike, as well as to be able to do rim to rim hikes. Although I do increase my mileage a little bit before I do the rim to rim hikes. If you're able to stay right on the rim, it is really to your advantage, both for getting an early start to the hike and for cleaning up on your return. Hotels can be found on the rim from Xantarra Lodges, and they are found at Grand Canyon Lodges, all one word.com. There's also Mather Campground, run by the U.S. government. You can get reservations at recreation.gov. It's about $18 a night. They do have flush toilets and fresh water in the sinks. They do have a shower house available there. Camping is $18 a night if you pay full price. If you're a senior or meet some other qualifications, it's about $9 a night. Quite a bargain. I didn't mention water. There's water available along the trail. On the way to River Resthouse, there's water in the summer at 1.5 mile Resthouse, 3 mile Resthouse, Havasupai Gardens. And if you go all the way to Bright Angel Campground, they have water there as well. I only drink treated water at Grand Canyon. There are mules on both sides of the canyon. The mules sometimes take breaks on the tributary streams running in to the canyon. There's been norovirus found in the water. If you have to consume water from a stream, which I don't recommend, please at least be sure to both filter and chemically treat the water, not just filter it. One time I saw some young hikers drinking water with only a filter down by River Resthouse, and one was as sick as a dog by the time he reached Havasupai Garden. A hard lesson for them to learn, and a very good lesson for me to learn. Another tip is have a member of your hiking party wear a wristwatch. You don't want to be dragging out a cell phone to tell time along the trail. And you do want to monitor your time as you go down the trail to be sure you're reaching your time goals, that you can complete the whole hike in the daylight hours and do it safely. Speaking of cell phones, there is expanded recently cell phone service, so you can often get cell phone service from the South Rim down to Havasupai Garden, and also perhaps on the last half mile or so of North Kaibab Trail as you reach North Rim. However, as we come to a conclusion, safety is very, very good on the trails at Grand Canyon. I see countless senior hikers and countless solo hikers, and I'm very pleased to see that many female solo hikers feel comfortable on the trail. There's good traffic on the trail. There's regular placement of emergency phones, emergency provisions. There are ranger stations at various places along the trail, and they even have a full-time rescue helicopter. There's something fascinating and challenging about hiking in Grand Canyon, but it's also a relatively controlled environment and relatively safe. I hope the information in this video helps you. I wish you happy hiking, and thank you for watching.